All right, it's Friday night. What's up, everybody? Hi, Audra. How's it going? Whew. Well, welcome to the official podcast of every pirate across the world because we enjoy rum. That's right. So it's Friday night. That's time for the Skeptical Help Bar. We are going to have a good time tonight. I have a guest, an awesome guest, who has an awesome nickname, Miss Cool. I love that. And she's actually my youngest guest that we're going to have on the show. So make sure you're all good out there. So anyway, I'm going to go over the rules for everyone that's joining us today. Let me get my rule. Oh, my goodness. I'm all discombobulated already. There we got rules. So rule number 1 is you are welcome to ask paranormal related questions. And I'll give you my skeptical opinion. Oh, I have a typo in that. I just noticed it says skeptical. I'm gonna have to fix that. And then you can ask questions of the guest. Of course, tonight it is a Q&A show, so feel free to ask questions, and she'll field your answers or field your questions. That's right. Number 2 is I don't know everything, and that's just the way it is. We all don't know everything, but we are okay with looking stuff up. I can say I don't know because that's an honest answer, and we go from there. Rule number 3 is listen to Patrick Swayze and be nice. That's it, especially today. Be a little extra nice because we got a awesome young lady, and I can't wait to have her on. Rule number 4 is please put a Q in front of your question because that makes it easier for me and producer Donna to pick up on the questions. And then let's see what else we got. We got rule number 5 is, well, for those that are of age, drink up. But even the younger ones, you can drink soda or juice. That's okay. Oh my goodness. All right. That's strong. Anyway. All right. I'm going to bring on our guest because I'm not going to wait any longer. Because she is awesome, like I said, and I want to get this started. So my guest tonight, let me see here, is Elle the Humanist, Elle Harris, and her dad, Doug. What's up, guys?
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
It's good.
That's good. You know, that is the best hoodie ever that you have on. Best hoodie ever. I love it. I love it. So how are you guys doing?
We're pretty good. My whole family has gone into school now. We're not on Zoom, which is fun in wearing our masks. My dad, it depends. He chooses when he wants to go in. My mom's here doing all of our chores because we don't listen.
Okay. Wow.
Especially mine. Yeah, pretty much it.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you're back to school. That's really good. I mean, I can understand being home probably was fun at first, but you kind of missed your friends, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so Elle, can you, before we get started, can you do me a little favor and just tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
So I'm Elle Harris, clearly.
Yes.
My nickname is Mrs. Cool.
That's right.
I am an author of 2 books. One of the book called Elle the Humanist. It's supposed to be me.
I have that right there.
And then I have my second book, Wonderful Earth.
That's awesome.
And
how old were you when you wrote the first book?
When I wrote the first book, I think I was about 8 or 9.
8 or 9, yeah. That's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know what I was doing when I was 8 or 9. I think I was still playing with like Transformers, and I was definitely not writing a book. So, can you tell us what the book is about? We have the first one. The first one you did is Wonderful Earth, right?
Yes.
What's that one about?
So Wonderful Earth is just telling people that we like the earth is a beautiful place and that we should take care of it just because we live on it, and like without it we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't just be floating out in space. We probably wouldn't be able to hear each other either.
Well, yeah, I think that would be a problem. Yeah, that would be a little bit of a problem. Yeah. All right, so you did that book, and then you put out Elle the Humanist, and this is really fascinating to me, and this is why I love this book. So, can you tell us what a humanist is?
So, a humanist is a person who believes they can be good without religion and can be nice to other people about what their religion is, and they're like, no, you can't have this religion, or this religion isn't right. It's someone who's kind about it, and someone who believes that people should be nice, and like for me, a humanist is no religion.
Okay.
Which my dad's an atheist, which they're really close, the same thing. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So in the description of the book, it says that it's based on your experiences with your friends. And what kind of experiences are we talking about? Like, what kind of conversations did you have with your friends? What started this?
So what started it was pretty much, so in the school, everyone was talking about, oh, I'm getting baptized tomorrow, or I'm getting baptized, blah, 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 blah. And people would ask me all the time, like, oh, are you getting baptized? Like, soon? Or when are you going to get baptized? And I was like, I'm not going to get baptized. And then one conversation that really, like, stood out to me was probably my conversation with my friend Penny, and we're still friends today. We talked, and she asked me one day, she said, what church do you go to? And I was like, oh, I don't go to any church. She's like, you don't go to a church? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, what's your religion? And I was like, I don't have a religion. And she's like, what? She's like, what? And it was so,
what?
What?
Are you crazy?
And that was probably like something that really reflected off of me writing a book. But my dad did help a lot with the process. Like, I probably wouldn't have the book without him, like, helping me, like, get it out there and help me spell things. Not the best spelling things. Probably spelled that wrong.
Yeah, I ask for help all the time because I'm horrible at spelling. But yeah.
And when he doesn't, his
spell check.
Yeah, your spell.
Yeah, sometimes I have arguments with my spell check quite often. We go back and forth, and I usually lose. So yeah, I know. We do have a question that kind of relates to this, but Bob says, I came in a little late, so sorry if you answered this, but what made you want to write your first book?
So I wanted to write my first book about Wonderful Earth because I thought that it was important for people to know that this world is amazing, and like being on the world is like so important, and you should actually cherish it and like know that that's important. And like ancestors ago, people met and then they had kids and then people married, and like if those two people like a long time ago didn't meet each other and then kept going on, you wouldn't be there. So it's just important to understand how wonderful this earth is.
That's cool. I like that.
Well, I think if you go back, you know, her older sister's an author, as you know,
right?
And so she grew up going to events. You know, you actually, where you met her was Bailey was speaking with Richard Dawkins and a bunch of other people, and so she went, you know, FFRF, and you know, she's traveled the country watching her sister speak at these conferences. So she always kind of dreamed of writing a book because of that. So that's kind of her inspiration, I think. Yeah. There,
Bailey was a big inspiration.
That's cool. And we're trying to get Bailey. Bailey was going to come on, but I know she's busy. She's really busy. But so, oh, wait, that's quite impressive to have written a book by 9. There you go. See, you're getting compliments already. So some of these conversations. Oh, okay.
Do you want to take a question?
Yeah, let's do it. John says, do you have any tips for how to still be friends with people when you may not agree on something? That's really, really good question.
Great question.
Something that I would probably do is tell them, like, I want to be friends, and I think this is something that it doesn't matter if we agree on or not. I think that, like, especially with religion, you could say, I don't care what religion you are, and it just depends on if you're nice to me or not, and, like, make sure that they know that you don't care about what you're trying to disagree on, and how you care about them, so they understand that it doesn't matter if you care about them.
That's good. I share that philosophy, because I do. I mean, we've met. You know what I do, like ghosts and psychics and stuff like that. So I have a lot of disagreements with people, and one of the big, I guess not. I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but I guess the trade-off is that we don't fight. Like, we argue, but we don't hate each other.
Yeah.
I am friends with a lot of people that believe that they're psychics. I'm friends with a lot of people that believe that they've seen ghosts and demons and all kinds of stuff. Like, wholeheartedly believe, and we have completely opposite views, but we're still friends and we hang out.
Yeah, that's how friends work. You have to trust them, and you have to believe that they actually, like, are good friends with you. It's like, I have a friend that I hang out with almost every day from Brinley. She's in my book a little bit. She's very picky a little bit, and, like, we argue. We don't fight. We just, like, she'll be like, oh, that's gross. I don't like that type of food. And I'm like, oh, I love that type of food. And like, we disagree. We don't, like, we're not, like, using our fists like, no, this is what I want.
Well, she's a Christian, right? And
yeah.
You guys are best friends. Mm-hmm. And she knows that you don't believe in the same things as her.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I like that. I mean, that's awesome. Ultra asks, do you celebrate any religious holidays like Christmas in a secular humanist way?
Yeah, we celebrate a lot of holidays. In particular, we do like to celebrate Christmas. We don't usually, like, talk about religion in it. Like, we still celebrate it the same way as other people. We just take out all the religious things. Like, we wake up every morning and my family knows, like, oh, my parents bought these for us, thank you. And, like, it's in a good way. Like, we love them for doing the holidays still, and, like, Christmas, we still do everything that you would usually do. Okay. We have nutmeg every night.
That's always something that some people have differing opinions on, and we don't have all the same celebrations. Like, we're in Utah, and so that's why at age 8, that's when her friends all started asking her when she's going to get baptized, because almost everybody in her class is Mormon, and that's the age that the kids get baptized, and that's really when Elle the Humanist kicked off. But I think for us, we call it Christmas. We have a tree. We don't put a star on the top of the tree. We talk to the kids about what the holiday means to some people. We try to go back to even the origins before that. Like, we try to do in a lot of ways. We talk about all 5,000 different gods in history and all those types of things.
Yeah.
But we call it Easter. We call it Christmas, and we don't talk about people coming back from the dead and things like that. But we do an egg zombies. No zombie Jesus. We might throw the memes around that day.
I prefer, like, we go back and forth because we celebrate Christmas, but, like, I don't do any of the religious part. My wife, though, a little bit, maybe. Yeah, a little bit. But we go back and forth. We trade off. Sometimes she has the star on the top, or an angel. An angel. Yeah. And then other times it's Yoda. Because
there you go.
I'm a big Star Wars fan.
That's not surprising.
Yes, Yoda with his lightsaber is on top of my tree, and I love it. And, like, our ornaments are more from the Hallmark store, where it's Star Wars and superheroes and Barbie figures or other things. Disney, We do a lot of Disney. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we celebrate. I still celebrate some of the holidays, but it's a non-religious form of the holiday, and it's cool. But I don't have a problem with anybody celebrating holidays their own way. Have fun. If that's what you like, then by all means, have fun, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for those of us that are secular, we have to try and, I think having like set holidays and traditions and those types of things, we kind of have to go out of our way a little bit more than our friends that have religion. And so, we piggyback on some of those. We do some other things, like at age 8, we have a really big party for them. We don't call it anything special. Age 12, they get to pick somewhere in the United States to go, like usually the U.S. historical site or something like that. So we try and come up with these events for the kids to so that we have those traditions and things, even though they're all very secular.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. All right, so let's see what else so when you were having conversations with your friends, the one thing I do want to ask that came up, it sparked a question. You mentioned that one of your friends is in your book. Mm-hmm. So are there more than one? And if so, like, did you ask them? Were they okay with it? How did they react when they saw themselves in your book?
So, especially with my friend Brinley, when we first became friends, she didn't really expect any religion talking until I was like, oh yeah, I just made out my new book. And she was like, what's it about? And I was like, oh, it's about my religion. She was like, oh, what's your religion? And I was like, I guess I could say I don't have a religion, but I could say I'm a humanist. And then she kept asking me questions like about it, and she doesn't care what religion I am. She's Christian, but she doesn't go to church. She thinks that being at her house and hanging out with her friends is more important than actually going to the church. She still believes in everything and that type of stuff, but
okay.
But you asked her and her parents if they were okay having her in the book.
I did, like the conversation, like before I gave her my book, because she asked. I was like talking to her parents. I was like, because they were all in the living room, we were all eating something because I go over there a lot, and I told her parents, I was like, is it okay if I give you guys my book about my religion? And they were like, oh yeah, go ahead, we don't care.
All right. We got another question. John Kennedy. Other than your sister, do you have any other humanists you look up to?
I do look up to my mom and dad. My mom, I'm not for sure. I'm pretty sure she goes by humanist. My dad goes by atheist, but they're pretty much like a big help, like that I look up to for like what I should write about, what I shouldn't say about my religion, and all that type of stuff.
Okay.
So yeah,
that's cool. That's great answer. That's really cool. So after you had some of these conversations with your friends, I guess there were questions that you had. Did you go to mom and dad and say, hey, like any advice?
Yeah, I did come to my parents one day and I was like, hey, tell me about this. And like, tell me about religions. Tell me about baptism and tell me about that. And they were talking also about like my brother Bryson. My parents used to be like religious a long time ago, and they had my brother Bryson, and he was baptized because he was a little older, and then he got unbaptized when they were doing when they were starting to realize and started reading books, and they're like, I don't understand this. They're like, maybe we shouldn't.
How do you get unbaptized? Is that like motor oil or what? I'm not making fun. I don't want anyone to get mad. I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's a legal process, honestly, just to be removed from like the roles of the church, so that they don't consider you part of religion anymore. This was well before Elle was born.
Okay.
But yeah, just wow. That way they don't consider you part of their church anymore.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea that was a thing. I should check into that because I was baptized. I was baptized when I was young, and somebody, I don't know how many churches are claiming me. I'm gonna have to look into this now. This is going on the notepad because I gotta look how to unbaptize myself.
Oh, this is gonna go over really well.
Oh man, yeah, that's gonna start up some trouble. Anyway, this is great. See, I learned something from this show tonight. I love it. So I guess you might have answered this already, but how did you know that it was possible to write your own book about your experiences?
Pretty much from Bailey.
From Bailey,
she kind of talked at conferences about herself, and I was like, well, maybe I should do that. And like when I went to the conferences, as my dad said, I was always like, I want to do this someday. Whenever we went to one of her conferences, I was like, Dad, when am I going to do this?
That's awesome. And we got to meet at a conference. I believe it was SciCon 2019. I think that's when we met. And right. Got one of my favorite pictures of us together with me with my badge that said Mr. Awesome and you with Miss Cool. I love that. So was that your nickname before I met you? Or was that just you came? Oh, so see, that's awesome.
Well, she saw you with your tag, she went over and got her own tag and made that on her own.
You know what?
So cool.
I get yelled at every year I go out there because the tags are made up and they have your name on it and you're supposed to be professional. And I keep getting told by a certain person that's in charge of it, don't write on your tag. Stop writing on it. And I was like, I can't. There's so much white space there. It's empty. I have to fill it in. So, yeah. Oh,
now you're going to be in more trouble getting the kids to do it.
That's right. See, positive influence. I love it. So you go around you've been to these conferences. What do you think of the conferences?
At the conferences, I'm always like, whoa. It's like I'm really inspired all the time what people say. Sometimes I do disagree a little bit of what people say, but not that big of a deal. It's not like I'm going to go up on the stage and I'm saying, no, don't listen to this.
I'm going to get you a sign to hold up.
I'm like, no.
I'm 10 and I disagree with you, Dr. So-and-so. She's pretty opinionated, as you could tell.
I've learned that over the last couple interactions. Yes. But that's good. I mean, I feel the same way. I mean, we go and SciCon is the big science conference that I've been to. I've been there a few times now. My wife has been there too. And it's like, we don't always agree. And I think that's what's great about the community as a whole, because you don't have to agree. You know, like if you have a little different opinion, you can have that opinion and then still express it. And you can debate and without fighting, you know. I don't like that when you just fight and people just get mean. I'd rather have a debate and say, hey, this is how I see it and this is why. And then you can say the same thing and we can debate about it. And sometimes I've gotten into that where I've realized I was wrong, you know, and I've learned from it. Like, okay, great. You showed me up, you schooled me. That's great. Now I learned something better, like being unbaptized. I mean, I am so fascinated with that.
It's like we might be doing a live show.
How can we unbaptize you?
My goodness.
Bring my
I
mother
think
up
we doing
here.
a little bit more research on that.
I have a bottle of unholy water around here somewhere, so maybe we can use that.
Just
Or if you
sprinkle some on
fly
your
out of the
forehead.
water or something. We got to figure out something fun here.
Yeah,
It was
maybe
Or you got
rather than
this.
just the attorney stuff we had to do.
Any more questions? Are we
No,
caught up?
we're
No,
caught up
good.
right now.
Okay, so let me see. How was the whole process of writing your book? I mean, that's got to be. I've written a book and I've submitted it once and I had it published and it was about ghost stories. And I know it was a long process and hard. So how was it for you?
Well, it wasn't too hard. Probably thinking of what to write about and like what probably wouldn't be the best idea to write about. It's probably the hardest part. And then pretty much I handed it over to my dad. Then my dad handed it over to publishers.
So did you work together, or did you write a little bit?
My dad helps me come up with ideas. He was like, Elle, you should write a book about your religion if you're so confident about it. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I go on my laptop and then I hand it. And I'm like, this is yours now.
There you go.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, you came home from school and told us about all the people asking you about baptism.
Yeah, and then
we taught about 7 secular virtues and world religions, and then you said, "Can you help me write a book about it?"
Yeah, and also we read a book, maybe yes, maybe no. And then
by Dan Barker.
Yeah, and it was sometimes about ghosts. Sometimes a few of them, were about some of those things, and they were conversations about maybe yes or maybe no. It just depended on what you thought.
Okay.
Yeah, that book actually was really meaningful to her, and she used it with friends that would tell her things that were religious or talk about ghosts, or because it just teaches them how to be a young skeptic. And
my parents.
It's a book by Dan Barker, and so. Yeah,
and my dad and I would read it, and he would so if it was about ghosts, he would ask me, "What do you think about ghosts?" And then I would answer, and then every time a new subject would come up, he'd be like, "What do you think about this? What do you think about that?" Just to see my opinion on things. He wasn't ever trying to change it. He was just trying to tell me that I should think about what I think, not what other people think.
Right.
So
that's good.
Or even what I think, right?
Yeah.
Great.
I think that's the whole idea, is she's herself and she will be loved no matter what she thinks or believes, or if she calls humanism a religion or not. I don't care. It's.
I probably said that in a few conferences on accident. Been oh yeah, my religion is being a humanist. Not even a religion.
It's hard because that's the vernacular that her friends use with her. So
it's probably just easier because I think I went through that in my transition because I was raised Catholic, and when I just stopped, it was I didn't know what to say. People would ask, "Oh, what do you go to church?" No, I don't. And then there was a lot of hostility, and I don't know how it was for you guys. I mean, here it's not. Well, I guess back in 80s, 90s, mostly the 90s and early 2000s, it was a very shock and awe kind of thing where you said, "No, I don't go to church. I don't have a religion at all." And people that were very religious, many times they cut me off. They didn't want to talk to me at all. That, they were done. They were done with me. But how was? Did you have any of those kind of experiences at all?
Not really at all. All my teachers, I've given all my teachers my book, and they've all been very accepting. They put it in the classroom. And one time during the school day when COVID wasn't a thing, I gave my library a book because they were offering books and they would put them in. And then I noticed the next day that she said, "Oh yeah, of course I'll put this in my library." And then the next day, and still a year from now, I've looked and I was like, she never put this in the
library. Oh.
That's when you take an extra one and just put it on the shelf.
Yeah, I just sneak it from home.
Every section has one.
Sneak it in there.
This is a book. Very good.
Okay. Question for Doug. I was indoctrinated. However, my kids and I are atheist humanists, and we're concerned with people here in the Bible Belt coercing my granddaughter into religion. We refuse to tell her what to believe like we were, but want her to be skeptical and open-minded. Do you have any advice for us?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. When we left religion, like I said, Elle wasn't born yet, and so we did have an older son, and so we did a lot of research, and one of the books that we found that was really helpful was called Parenting Beyond Belief by Dale McGowan. I think probably people know him pretty well. But one thing there's so many good. He has a bunch of people that are writing for that, so you get a perspective from a bunch of different people. And like you said, all of us think differently in this community, and we challenge, we're skeptical, and but I think one of the things that we really liked is teach them how to think, not what to think. That's kind of the quote that we took away from that. But also like teaching kids the scientific method seems to be the key. And I think a lot of people that grow up in fundamentalist religion, or people that are in areas probably like you are, they're afraid that their children will become religious. And what we've found, and with a lot of our friends, even if they're like, we're in Mormon country here, right? And we grew up. My wife and I grew up in California, so we're moving back next year. But right now, most of the kids in her class are Mormon, and we really don't like. It's not a fear for us that they're going to become religious. What we do is we teach them like the scientific method, right? Like make a hypothesis. Look at all the angles, and we'll go through. Elle's done this many times. We'll throw out stupid ideas, stupid thoughts, like what do you think, and why is this? And then we'll ask her to think through the different angles, 5 different ways that somebody could think of this problem, and then go through just the scientific method. So I think if kids can learn from what we've learned with most of our friends and with our kids and their friends, even in highly religious area, if you teach them how to think, and the other really good one is teaching them about world religion. This is what we've found, that there is a light bulb that goes off at kids probably around her age. That's happened with our other kids. You teach them about Allah, and you teach them about all the different religions through history, and really the Christianity just flows in there with all the rest of the silly religions. I mean, I'm not trying to demean it, because I think I know it means a lot to a lot of people. But if you think about Thor, and what's your favorite god? Poseidon is her favorite god, right? So I think that's another one. Like, so really going through that the scientific method and just practicing it. Why do you think this ice cube is melting? And put it on the counter, or why do you think ice gets bigger? I know it's like a dumb example, but you can do that all day long with little kids, and they love it. They love thinking through things like that. Get on Google and show them how to look up answers to things like that. And then really, I think teaching them about world religion, I would highly recommend that, because then it really helps them put Christianity in its place, which is just among, there are 5,000 gods through history, and Jesus is one that some people believe in today. And guess what? In 100 years, maybe nobody will, and maybe it'll just be, So yeah, I guess that's probably the advice that I would have.
That's great. I like that. I mean, we didn't raise our kid in a religion. It was pretty much like, okay, if you have questions, let's talk about it. We'll look it up together. We have the most valuable resource ever in our history, Google. We can look stuff up, and we can study these. I have books from almost every religion on my shelves here.
Yeah,
we can go through and look them up. So if you have a question, yes, let's address it. I'm not going to hide stuff from them. I'm not going to hide or change it in my favor. I'm going to, hey, this is what some people believe, and other people believe this, and you need to come to your conclusion based on what you find. And if you want to believe something, then okay, but just remember, somebody like me is out there, and I'm going to question you.
Yeah. And I think talking to kids in a positive way, because as they become teenagers, they rebel against you, and we try not to trash talk religion. I mean, we joke around about things that when we look at the memes and stuff like that, it's fun. But really, I think helping kids understand that they're going to want to search for meaning in their life, right? Like, and Jonathan Haidt teaches it really, really well, that third dimension of your life. And I think teaching kids that, for a lot of people in the world, that's their third dimension, is this, is the magic of religion. And for us, I can talk about music, because that's, I was in punk bands growing up, and I just love music. Right. And we could talk about the mountains and going for hikes, or Elle likes to ski, and that's something that gives her, she loves to just go up in nature. We love the ocean, and, just studying about science and understanding physics. And Elle really likes studying about space. Those types of things that are kind of larger larger than your life, I think that's kind of what can bring that third dimension in. So I think that's another angle, is helping kids know that they can kind of feel that meaning with things that aren't magical.
Right.
And you can still be interested in magic, and I know it's an area that you dive into, but like going to a Magico show, we don't avoid that kind of thing. And
I love that. I love that stuff.
Magic is great. I think when you go to a magic show, it's a different experience because they're not trying to pretend that it's real. We go in knowing it's a trick. It's just a trick. And for us, we sit and watch like Penn and Teller, and we watch these shows, and for us, we try to figure it out. Like sometimes we're pausing it, we're rewinding it, watching it. Like
I bet you are. Yeah.
Like how did they do that? That's pretty dang good.
It's pretty. There's a lot of talent there for sure.
Yeah. And
we have a lot of great magicians in our our community.
Yeah.
Matt Dillahunty, and it's Sycon where we were at. They did a show that was so cool.
Banachek did a show. Yeah. And that was really, really good. He's great too, because he was a major part of the James Randi Educational Foundation with the testing and all that. So really, really good. So, all right. So let's get back on to some of the questions that I have, because I don't see any others, but it looks like everyone's enjoying the show so far. That's awesome.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is good. It is good. See, you're popular.
Going to school, ask people, did you see my interview? I'm popular now.
Look at that sass. Like, did you see my interview? That's right. I totally forgot my question now.
And that is totally not her attitude. Oh my goodness. So you have to know that is.
Yeah.
Kenny brings out the best in people.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do. See, the next time we meet up at a conference, we are hanging out. We are going to storm the stage.
I'm going to go there in my pink tutu and pretend I'm a ballerina.
Yeah. I'll put on my blue tutu. Be right there with you.
Well, I think we're going to have to make that happen.
Oh, no.
Only for charity. So what is your hope that kids and their parents might learn from your book?
I want parents and kids to learn that no matter what their religion is, and even if your kid has different beliefs than you have, it doesn't matter. It just matters if you love them. If you don't love them, you got a problem.
Yeah,
there you go.
That is straight up. That I love that. That's good. Like, we see so many stories, and I hear stories, and unfortunately, like I meet people where they say they've had different beliefs or different lifestyles, and when they confide in their parents, it's bad. It goes bad, and the parents don't love them, or they don't want anything to do with them, and that your lesson right there is extremely important. It's awesome. You have to remember that's your kid. These are your parents. They raised you, they took care of you, and then on the other side, this is your child. So
you have to appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Yeah. This is somebody to love, not somebody to hate or be mean. I wish more adults could realize that. That's a good one, John. Thank you. John with an H.
Well, and really quickly, the tone of the book is just, it's Elle to the core, right? She loves everyone, she doesn't care what you believe, or, it's very positive. Like the foreword by Daniel Dennett, he even talks about it. Like one of the great things about this is that it doesn't tear people down. It's not, she's not attacking religion. And really, we just tried to document her experience at school, because she loved those conversations. She's like, my friends are all talking about this thing called baptism, and like, what is it? And so we started looking at religion, and like, how do you feel? So it really is just a reflection of her overall. And I think, that love, you hear her talking, like, that's just, that's just how she is. And so I think that hopefully it comes through in the book. We tried to.
And I do love to read books about like disability people. Like we're reading one right now called Out of My Mind, which is like a really good book, and where it's this little girl and she has a disability where she can't talk, and she like always is like, I have so much to say and there's like no way to tell people what I want, and it's just a sad story. Like it's good to learn about what like how disability people like can still be smart, and you shouldn't make fun of them just because they have a disability. Like the girl in our book has photographic memory and she's like smart, and that doesn't mean because she has a disability, that doesn't mean that she can't be smart at all. And I just think people need to learn about that.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing other people's perspective. And that's awesome. And that's another philosophy that we try to promote on this show and everywhere else, to understand other people's perspective. You know, it's not just you. The world doesn't revolve around you, and everyone doesn't believe the same things you do or know the same things. You have to talk to people to understand where they're coming from, what they believe, why they believe it, and go from there. So awesome.
Wait, the world doesn't revolve around Kenny?
Shush. I will turn your microphone off.
News to Kenny today.
Okay, yeah, right.
What do you mean?
Burst his bubble. Burst his bubble.
The bubble gets bigger and bigger.
So people we did have a question from Gabe. He was asking, where can we find your books as a publisher? I did put the link to ellethehumanist.com in the chat room, so everyone has that.
Yeah.
And they can get it from there.
If you're also wondering, it's www.ellethehumanist.com.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah. Also, I mean, depending on country, you can get them there. It's available in 13 different countries on Amazon. So that's somewhere you can get it as well.
Okay.
Elle the Humanist is her website.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So in your book, you write about the platinum rule.
Yes.
And can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So if you're wondering what the platinum rule is, the platinum rule is treat others the way they would like to be treated, because not everyone wants to be treated how you want to be treated. Like if I want to be treated with something and someone else doesn't want to be treated with that, you don't treat them with that.
Right.
Yeah, and so it's treat others the way how they would like to be treated.
How they would like, not the way you think they should be treated, but the way they would like to be treated. That's really cool. I like that.
I think it just takes the golden rule one more step, right? The golden rule is treat people, and I think right away that's what you do. You try and treat people the way you would like to be treated because you don't know them. But
right.
It takes a little bit more work to learn about them, and all of us are so different. So I think the platinum rule takes an extra step, and that's
right. And I mean that's a good philosophy, because you don't know what other people consider good or bad, or what would make them happy, what would make them angry. In one of my previous job, I worked with a lot of people from overseas, and we were usually briefed on etiquette or what not to do, because some things that we do here in America are offensive to people that are from a different country. So it's not just it wasn't more or less to be like, all right, well, I'm going to walk on eggshells around you. It's more or less because these other people are coming in, we're inviting them in to work with us, and we're just making sure it's not we get along. That's all. So the platinum rule is really good. It's one step better than the golden rule. That's awesome. I love it. So what have you been up to since you released the book? Because it's been out for a little bit, right?
I just have to point out, I got braces.
You got braces.
That's the biggest thing that's happened.
And then, so we did release the book in German that you can get. It's called Elle the Humanist. And if you don't know German, don't take it personally. So, also, I've had a lot of talks with people. I was on a talk with Free Thought Radio, FFRF, Ask an Atheist with FFRF, American Humanist Association, the Free Thought Society, and Seth Andrews, Thinking Atheist. All of the talks were so interesting to see, like, a lot of different questions that people ask and their point of view on what I say.
Right. That's really good. So you've been busy. You've been doing some podcasts and radio shows. That's awesome. Of course, you've been on the Skeptical Help Bar twice now.
That was your first. That was your first interview before all the others. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
I was so scared.
What? Really?
I was scared, like, as in I was nervous to mess up. I was like, oh, crap.
Oh, there's nothing to be nervous. You know what? I've had grown adults on here, and some of them are in the chat room right now that have been nervous. They've come on here just for a few minutes, and they were so nervous that you hear, sometimes your voice gets quivery and stuff. So
you
everyone
start, mumbling your answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm nervous every time I do this show.
It's normal.
Every show.
Yeah, you should be nervous. My language is terrible.
I know. You dropped F-bombs last time, like right.
I know, right?
Oh yeah.
We had to bleep you out. If you anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, if you go on my YouTube channel, go back a little bit. The first time Elle is on, and we had a great interview. It was really fun time, and at the end, there's almost like a blooper reel, but you have to watch it because it's hysterical. It's hysterical because she just curses like a trucker.
Oh yeah. It's like razors coming out of her mouth, man.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out.
So much fun. Oh, question. What do you think the biggest issue is concerning the climate of the Earth is? What would you like to see done to address it?
I think that maybe some things that really need to be helped on the world is probably plastic pollution and climate change, definitely, like you said. And plastic on the Earth, like some places are banning it, which I think is like really good. And we went to California and I got a bottled water, and it charged you money to get a plastic bottle so people wouldn't actually get the plastic bottles, which I thought was really cool. And I think that more places should start banning things that are polluting the world and like stop big factories that are like making the air all foggy and like polluting the world, which I think is a big thing because like you need all of those things. You need air to breathe. You don't want like I have asthma, so when we have really bad pollution in the air, like before COVID was even a thing, I had a mask that had a filter in it that I had to wear out to recess because it was like so bad. And I think that something that we could do to do that is just stop the things that are polluting it. It's like it's not that hard. Just stop using the things. Like you may notice every day that you might use a plastic bottle. If you use a plastic bottle, maybe you reuse it for a few days. Keep cleaning it out. If you use one every like once a year, it's fine, but try to prevent it. It's a one day.
I love it. I love the little bit of attitude that comes out of it. That's awesome. But I get what you're saying because you could. I mean, you see how. I don't know how it is in other countries, but at least here we're a very disposable society. Yeah, I mean we love to buy things and then throw them away. Personally, I've always had a problem with wrapping paper. I think it's the most useless thing ever because you literally buy paper to throw it away. So, I mean, yeah, it looks pretty for a couple seconds, but you throw it away. So, but with the water bottles, yes. I mean, it's you buy this big pack and you see people drinking out of plastic water bottles and then they throw it away and they grab another one and throw it away, grab another one instead of using the reusable containers.
My cousins, they they so like sometimes people are using so much water, and it's like your bills can be so big, you don't need to use so much water sometimes, like that. It's just like something big that I think, and like my cousins especially, they don't use like cups. They use water bottles for like a few days, and they like keep reusing water bottles instead. Like they use a water bottle for like a long time, and then once it's dirty, they don't use it anymore. They clean it up, and then they keep using the water bottle. So it's pretty much saving stuff.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
Good. We got a follow-up question from Bob. Soda companies used to use glass bottles instead of plastic. Do you think we should go back to that?
I
mean,
it depends.
I've never studied that. That's a good question.
Like how you're using the glass, what you're doing to the glass. If you're throwing it into the ocean because you feel like it, maybe not the best idea.
Unless you put a note in it or something.
Yeah, like put a note inside when you're done drinking. It like paper gets caught in your throat. You're like, oh, I wasn't supposed to do that. And also,
I think it might be a decent idea, because I do remember, like I remember the glass bottles. I think they were really phasing out when we were growing up. But the glass bottles were around, and you didn't just throw them away. You could take them back to the store, and they would be reused. So I think that was a good practice. And unfortunately, I think the plastic became cheaper and faster. That's why it switched. I mean, I don't know. I don't study this. I'm not into this, so I don't know exactly. That's just my opinion. But yes.
And my teacher of my class right now is very, very strong about how we need to help the world, and which is a really good thing. Like we're reading a lot of articles about every day. Like there's a story about how this golf place was next to an ocean, and they would throw when they hit the golf balls, they would go into the water, and then animals, so they disintegrate. They start to let off little things, and then animals could die because they think it's food. They think it's food flying around in the water, and they cleaned up at least, I think it was 500 golf balls a day, and then the first time they saw it, they were talking, they went over to the golf ball place, like we're golfing, and they were like, you guys know that they're going to the ocean. Can you like help this or something? And they said, we're not interested in that. And then they started to clean them up, and then they brought the bags into the place and were like, do you want to help us now? Like, stop doing this? And then they're like, oh, yeah, sure. So I thought that was
cool. All right. So what, let's see. Tim, this is time to bringing up your own containers to fast food places. Oh, yes. This is the time to bring up.
So Tim had an idea today.
Earlier. Yeah. He posted on social media about bringing your own take-home containers to restaurants rather than, getting a doggy bag or, the containers that they use, to bring your own like Tupperware, bring it with you. And when you have the leftovers, put it in there. And he just threw it out there. And I was like, that's a great idea. I never thought of that. It's so simple. You like that, Elle?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go grab my dad's phone and call McDonald's right now. Hello? Can you, oops, wrong number. Gotta call Chick-fil-A now. Guess that wasn't McDonald's. I guess that was my friend, but that's fine.
I love Chick-fil-A.
I'll just go to her house and grab my container. I'll be like, hey, can I have some food? I called you earlier.
I know. We were so excited when some of the policies changed at Chick-fil-A so that we could go back.
And also, I saw something
last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah, me and my friend were on a walk today, and then we saw this container, and we were reading what it said because it was a container, and it said free doggy doggy bags because it was a park where like dogs could go to.
Okay.
Like we go on a walk there all the time. It's like a really fun walk, and it was bags that could like not hurt or pollute anything, where they would like dissolve or whatever.
Biodegradable.
Yeah, biodegradable bags that people could just grab one for their dog, and I thought that was so cool.
That's cool. What's you mentioned policies, Doug, from Chick-fil-A. What policies were changed?
There was so much pressure on them. They were actually going out of business in some neighborhoods because so many of us banned them because they were donating money to groups that supported anti-LGBTQ initiatives.
Okay. Oh,
so if you remember, but they reversed that. I think it was 2 years ago. We hadn't eaten there for years, and I love their waffle fries. Yeah. We're like, man, this is our sacrifice for what we feel is right. But yeah, as soon as they reversed that, man, we were there.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's so cool. So I'm going to hit my commercial break. I'm going to play a commercial. It's about a 2-minute and 22-second break. So if you want to run and get a drink or do something in that 2 minutes and 22 seconds, this is the time to do it. This is usually my pee break and then refill. I actually run around the house because everything's spread out, but we'll come back and we'll get into some of the stuff that maybe you're working on now or what's coming up. And then we'll see what other questions we got. So guys, during the commercial break, if you have questions, feel free, still pop them up. All right. And we are going to break in 3, 2, and 1. Hey everyone, this is my store based on the theme of science and skepticism. It's here that you can find all kinds of shirts and hoodies, yoga pants, tote bags, the fanny packs I know you guys love, masks and pillows, all with science and skepticism as the theme. I even have hoodies for your pets. That's right, your dog or cat can wear one of these things. I also have a general store that sells more inspirational quotes or, drinking stuff because I like that kind of thing. I also have a store set up for our 3 Tortured Souls podcast, which we do Saturday nights. You can find shirts and Tim Vicker's favorite drinking vessel, the mug. I also have a store tailored a little bit more towards my ghost hunting friends, Paranormal by I Am Kenny Biddle. These are shirts and quotes that are a little bit more on the ghost hunting side, especially this one, Translucent Perished Beings. Ghost. That's my favorite. So if you're interested, head on over to teespring.com/stores/scientific skepticism by IAKB and check it out. Thanks.
Are you tortured by what you see and hear about the paranormal field? Join us as we critically examine and question paranormal claims, science, ghosts, demons, cryptids, UFOs, ghost hunting technology, and much more are all on the table for discussion. 3 Tortured Souls is a video podcast that streams live on Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 Pacific. 3 Tortured Souls.
All right. You're on your own.
Yeah, my dad's right here with my dog.
That's okay. Oh, you got your cat?
Dog.
Dog. Oh, that's cute.
Not a cat.
Not a cat.
Not a rabbit.
She's stuck in my headphones.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
The struggle is real.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, she got it.
What's your dog's name?
What's the dog's name?
Phoebe.
Oh, Phoebe.
Okay,
Phoebe.
There we go.
There we go.
Phoebe.
She came up here only because we had beef jerky.
Oh, okay. I can understand that. So I want to ask, Doug, like, what, I know Elle said she really didn't have too many like bad problems, but what about I guess issues that might have come up with Bailey and your son when this started happening, when you guys started becoming more of a secular family? Did you face issues from the community or neighbors or parents of other kids? And if so, how did you deal with it? Maybe advice for our other parents that are out there.
Yeah. So, our kids were so tiny. Bailey was, I think, 3 or 4, so she doesn't even remember being part of a religion. But the community we lived in when we left was, we're in Salt Lake now, and so we're kind of in this little oasis within Utah, where a lot of our the kids are still, because everybody has like 6 kids. The kids are like probably 90% Mormon even in our area, but in our neighborhood, most of the adults are not. We have a lot of people that work at the University of Utah right here, the hospitals and research. And so, but when we left, we were in a neighborhood down south of here, and it was, even the adults, it was close to 100% Mormon. The city was named after like the River Jordan from the Bible. And so with Bailey, it was a very, very different experience than with Elle. I think partially because like where we are now, like I said, it's more educated, and it's a very liberal, like that. I think I saw one Trump sign within a mile of us, so it's very, very liberal and educated. And so the kids that she talks to, their parents are very open-minded. And even if they're religious, they're, it's very different. Right. So with Bailey, you've heard her story that she gives at the conferences. That's why she's invited. Is it's a pretty sad story, so she's very opinionated, and she would get into arguments with kids about Jesus, and it was a pretty tough time. She was told that she was going to go to hell quite a bit. We ended up moving up here, which I think was really a good move for us. But in the meantime, we had to put her in counseling. She was 8. And we had her in same age that Elle started wanting to write about humanism. Bailey was getting hit up by all the kids there, like, why aren't you getting baptized? You're going to go to hell. You're not going to go to the pretty princess castle in the sky. And it was pretty tough. And the people that were running the school weren't very helpful, and called her a bully for refusing to play with this girl. You can see her videos, right, like on YouTube and stuff. She talks all about it, but it's a really positive story that her book came out of that. But there were times that at 8 years old that she told me, I don't know, Dad, if I want to be alive. And, that's a pretty tough conversation. We got really good counseling. She's doing really, really well now, but that was really tough. I think for her, it was a lot more difficult than for Elle, and their attitudes are quite a bit different as well. Bailey's a little bit more, argumentative, and loves a good debate. And you've probably seen her like Ark Encounter stuff. And,
yep.
She's provocative, and so it wasn't just it wasn't just the other kids. But the positive stories. We were watching. Cosmos, and she was so inspired by the idea that we're made of stardust that she went up and started writing the book all on her own, right? And went up to the computer and asked her what she was doing. She said, I'm writing a book about how we're all made of stardust. I want all kids to know about this. And it really became it really, I think, in a lot of ways saved her, and gave her something to be passionate about. And she just loves science, and so it was like helping her find that, like, just that passion that she had for science. And she still talks about space and science all the time, Awesome. I don't know if that's much advice. It's a lot of story and talking. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, I was there. I got to hear her story, Bailey's story at SciCon. And I mean, it really hit us. I mean, that's why, like, I made it a point to meet you guys, because after hearing that, I was so impressed, and just with the entire family, your whole family is just amazing. And without kissing your butt. I mean, it was amazing how you guys came together. You all supported each other, and it wasn't like, oh, well, you know, you're just a kid, you're going through something, you just need to deal with it or buck up. You know, it was, you supported your kids, and your kids were better for it, and they made it through, and it was a difficult time, and you know, that's impressive. So my hat's off to you, if I had a hat. So what's next? What's next for Elle? What is Elle the Humanist working on now?
We're thinking about writing another book about the world religions and gods throughout history, just for people to learn. Also, Bailey's has a Kickstarter for her puzzle. Okay. And then we're thinking about making some puzzles through Elle the Humanist. And then once we're gonna travel places, we're going to see Harvard Humanists.
Who?
Harvard Humanists.
Oh,
they are at like the school Harvard, and I'm hoping to ask them for a scholarship.
That's awesome.
And they've actually supported her quite a bit, and so as soon as things clear up, she's going to fly out there and speak with them, and
awesome.
So she's super excited about that because that's where she wants to go. We'll see. I mean, that's her dream at this point.
Also,
she needs to save her money.
I hope. We're working with Center for Inquiry to translate my book into different languages. We're thinking we have 4 languages that will be public very soon. Hope that one's Arabic, one's Farsi. Probably saying all of these wrong. I'm so sorry. And one's you say that. I don't know.
Urdu and Indonesian.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't think that's public yet, but you know, we're breaking the news on Kenny's.
Yes, I love exclusives.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you've heard. You obviously know of the Translations Project. There'll be a lot of information coming out about that right now, but they have, you know, I think quite a few Richard Dawkins books, and they're expanding that right now, and we're involved in that. So that's probably the most exciting thing that we've ever done.
That's awesome.
To be involved in that. So I'm guessing like 2 months from now they'll have some press releases and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, that's worldwide. Yeah. I mean, that's going global. You're going to be known throughout the world. Is that exciting?
Yeah.
Just remember us little people.
Yeah.
Remember where you got started.
Remember
this shit.
Yeah.
Remember your first interview right here.
I'll be when I'm older. I'm like,
Remember that crazy man, Kenny?
Yeah.
I want to be in your audience.
Remember that weird bartender that I used to know?
Mr. Awesome.
I was very young. I don't think it was. Yeah. I know he knew who I was, of course. What's
in that water you're drinking?
Wow.
I was like, wow.
I know.
This must be my holy water.
I want to be in the audience. You're going to be up on this big stage. You're going to be talking to thousands of people, and I'm going to be holding my book up going, "You autographed it. You autographed it. It's right there."
And then I'm like, "Who's that in the audience?" And you're like, "It's me. Mr. I did the first scene with you. It's Mr. Awesome." I'm like, "Oh, you want to come up here?"
Broke the story.
Yeah.
Broke the story. Nice. That's right.
Cool. You'd be yelling, "It's Miss Cool. It's Miss Cool."
I'll be like, "Yeah, Mr. Awesome. Hello." So this other book, you're going to be getting into different. Oh my goodness! Look at that.
Oh, that's great.
That's one of my shirts too. That's awesome. I love that. That's awesome. Oh my! I totally lost my train of thought. So the other book you're working on. I don't know how much you can talk about it because it's obviously still in the works. But you're going to be going into, you said, other gods and religions. Yeah, religions?
About all the different types of world religions, just because I think it's important for people to know that there's not only a few religions, there's like a lot, and like all the gods throughout history, like I said.
Yeah.
Like my personal favorite, Poseidon. Whenever we get in the ocean, I'm like, Poseidon!
I'm a fan of Thor. I love the hammer. Always, even before the Marvel movies, I was a fan of Thor. Always thought it. Actually, I'll tell you the story behind this. And this isn't the original one because one of our dogs chewed up the original. But we went to a Renaissance fair, I believe, right?
We were in Gettysburg.
We were in Gettysburg. And my wife bought this hammer for me. And it was because in Gettysburg, it's known for its ghost tours. It's known to be like haunted because it's a battlefield. And at the time, I think there were like 14 or 15 different ghost tour companies. And I would just walk up and down the street because they had their little tables out, and some of them would have photo albums out showing all their photos of ghosts. And I would just walk up to one and be like, oh, so you think this is a ghost, huh? Let's talk about this. And I would go page by page and just explain them all. And you could see their faces like getting like, oh no, like, what are you doing? So my wife bought it to symbolize how I crushed the dreams and dreams of ghost hunters everywhere.
I'm going to go there and I'm going to wear my Ghostbuster costumes with my vacuum and be like, this place is dirty.
So yeah, that's the story behind Thor, and I've been a fan ever since because I like the hammer. It's pretty cool. Poseidon's cool too, though. I like Poseidon. It's awesome.
She has an older brother that loves mythology and studying all about that. So I think some of that rubs off on her.
That's awesome. So I know Bailey just put out the Kickstarter for puzzles, right? And you guys are thinking of doing some puzzles based on what, your artwork, or is this just in the beginning phases?
Just some pages from the book. Which ones are we doing?
Which ones are you thinking?
I can read along. I love it.
She loves puzzles, and so she's seen Bailey.
Yeah, we're doing a 10-foot puzzle right now.
Oh
wow! You're doing it all to yourself?
Not by myself.
We're all doing it.
Okay.
If I did it by myself, I would be on the first piece right now.
It's kind of torture.
I think I'm doing this as a puzzle.
Okay.
It'll be rearranged, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, not exactly like this, but kind of close.
No, you playing soccer, probably.
Oh, this one.
Oh, there you go.
We're thinking of doing this page, just this page without my little heart thing, just the page of.
Has all the golden rules from all the different religions.
Great.
That'll be a fun one, huh?
That's awesome.
And then I think there's one more I was thinking of doing. Oh, this one. I was thinking of doing a puzzle of me and all the different types of cultures.
Oh, that would be awesome. I like that. I like that a lot. The golden rule is cool. I think I like that with everybody together, all the people.
That
rhymes.
Buy
them all, though. I'll buy them all. You just let me know, and as soon as they go live, I'm going to buy them all because I think they're cool. And we'll sit here and we'll take pictures as we're doing the puzzles.
Right, and then montage it, hang it up on the wall.
Yep. Yeah, we'll glue it up and hang it up. So maybe I'll put it in the background here when I change my background.
He has a spot right there. It's empty.
I do have a spot up high.
Look at that.
Oh, nice.
So I can put it right there. That would be nice. Maybe I'll actually move my Skeptical Help Bar drawing up so that I can have your puzzle right there. That'll be cool. So let's see what else. Oh, and you're going to travel. Anything else in the works?
I think that's about what we're planning to do with that right now.
You got a lot going on.
Yeah, that's going on. Anybody have any questions out there? We're going to wrap it up soon. So this is the time. Get your questions in, and So this is it's not really on topic, but Gabe wants to know what's your definition of paranormal for both dad and daughter.
You say first.
Probably just anything that's considered supernatural. That's a way of saying it. It's like not found within actual nature. I don't know. That's definitely not my area of expertise. But
yeah, okay.
Do you even know that?
Oh, we got a question from Bob. Where is the one place in the world you would want to travel to, and why?
That's a good question.
I want to travel to Boston. We're going there, but I want to travel there.
To where? Boston?
Boston.
You have to let us know, because that's not far from us.
Oh, when we go to Harvard.
No,
it's a couple hours drive, but we've done it. We've done it.
Oh, let's do it.
That would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
We can meet up.
Yeah,
and we do
put you on K&D Adventures.
Yeah, we do another channel on YouTube called K&D Adventures, where we go out and just wherever we travel, we take video of our travels and what we do and our experiences and stuff. And that would be awesome if you could guest star on it.
Yeah.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun.
So fun.
All right, so we're gonna wrap this up, and I'm gonna say that where can people find you?
At www.ellethehumanist.com. And you can also look up Elle the Humanist, and maybe something will pop up. But
that's awesome. I love it. Is there anything else you want to put out there, Dad? Do you want to promote anything else?
I don't think so.
Anything? No.
Yeah. No. I mean,
okay.
Thank you so much for having us on. We always appreciate the support.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was such a blast to show my inner sassiness.
I'm so happy that you watched your language this time.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I have a pillow next to me just in case it goes.
But we have another question here. Wait, where'd it go? Since I got Vickard, what was your favorite Cosmos, Sagan or Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked both.
Yeah,
I did see the original one. I loved it. I thought Sagan had he had such a pleasant voice. Like it just flowed, and you knew. And Neil, I haven't gotten to meet Neil yet, but I would love to. But he did a good job on the new one, and I'm waiting for the next. There's supposed to be another season, I think, that they were working on. I haven't seen anything about it.
I think it actually just came out. We haven't seen it yet.
Okay. So all right. So ellethehumanist.com. And check out her book. If you haven't gotten her book already, please go get it. Go get yourself a copy, and because it's really cool, especially if you have kids and you want to talk about religion and maybe non-religion and how to deal with it. This is a great book. It's simple, it's to the point, and it's a good read. I enjoyed it. I mean, I always love books with pictures, so love it. So. Again, thank you very much. I'm going to put you in the background just for a couple minutes. So hang out, please, until I do my announcements, and we'll end the show, and I'll come right back to you guys. All right?
Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Right.
So
Thank
nice.
You.
Awesome. And that is so cool. Awesome guest. I love having her on and just chatting, and she's so adorable. Oh my goodness, and so smart, and a little bit of attitude. I love it. I love it. Reminds me of me. Sassy. So sassy. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It looked like there was a lot of positive feedback. You guys were enjoying it. And thank you, everyone, for being respectful and asking great questions. That was so cool. So I have a few announcements real quick. And I put them up on screen there for Bob because Bob really wanted me to have them up on screen. So there you go. So May 15th, I will be doing a short presentation for the We Can Reason Skeptic Camp. That's a Canadian skeptic camp. I'll be doing a 20-minute lecture or a presentation on photography. Basically what I look for in old photographs to see if they were doctored or fake or just tricks used to manipulate them to make it look like they have ghosts or something. And then it'll be 10 minutes Q&A following that. June 3rd to 5th, I'll be at Phenomenology, which is in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. It's a paranormal conference. I'll be setting up my Skeptical Help booth, my real one, and taking your questions there at the conference. And I'll also have a can up for donations. I'll be taking donations for the Cancer Research Institute. So basically, if you want to sit down, you want to ask me a question like we do on the show, if you want to just make a comment, or if you want to yell at me, and maybe you don't like skeptics and you just want one to yell at, that's fine. Just make a donation. That's all I ask for, because it goes to a good cause. And then August 20th to 22nd, I'll be in Gettysburg again for the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. And that benefits Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors and kids with cancer. So great causes. It's a great time too. I'll also be out there setting up a booth. And my wife will have Lucky Tiki Creations at both conferences I mentioned. So she'll be selling all kinds of crafts and gifts and really cool stuff. So you can buy stuff from her and then also come over to my booth and donate. And then lastly, September 25th, I'll be in Woodbridge, New Jersey, and that's for the Para-Unity Conference. I do not have a booth for that. I'll be just walking around. Donna has a booth, so that's where I'll keep my stuff as I walk around and annoy the poop out of ghost hunters by talking about their equipment and maybe looking at some pictures and being like, well, maybe that's not really a ghost. So anyway, with that said, I appreciate everyone coming out tonight and hanging out for a little bit. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to Elle and her father, Doug, for coming out and spending time with us. And I will see you next week. There is no Three Tortured Souls tomorrow night. So if you're hanging around, there is no show tomorrow night because we have other plans and we have things to take care of. Mostly Dave is on vacation. That's why. So he's in New Orleans having some fun. He just sent us pictures before the show. So, whew. All right. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight and love you guys. And remember to never, ever stop learning. And I'll see you next week.